Tisquantum, or Squanto, is one of the most famous Indigenous Americans to U.S. history students. He was born in a coastal Patuxet village in present-day Cape Cod, Massachusetts, in the Wampanoag Confederacy. He grew up in a wetu, composed of a dome made of arched poles covered with firs and chestnut bark during the cold and warm months respectively. This insulation produced better climate control than English wattle and daub technology. Furthermore, it is estimated that the Patuxet ate 2,500 calories a day, more than their famine-addled European counterparts. As training to become a niece, a counselor bodyguard to the sachem or leader of the Patuxet, Tisquantum endured physical tests like fasting and running through prickly shrubs. During the summer of 1614, Captain John Smith of England visited a coastal village while mapping the region, meeting the sachem and his niece Tisquantum. Soon after, his lieutenant, Thomas Hunt, also visited the Patuxet and tricked a few onto his own ship. Suddenly, at gunpoint, he started forcing people into its hold. The English sailors slaughtered many and shipped the surviving 20, including Tisquantum, to Spain. 100 years before the 13 colonies, English vessels circulated Newfoundland and New England, fishing and trading manufactured goods like copper kettles, steel knives, and hatchets for fur. They also almost immediately launched a Native American slave trade. American lands were thickly settled and well defended. The English enslaved native guides and interpreters to navigate this complex world. The knowledge of the enslaved directly influenced eventual colonization, as it helped map future New England for financiers, officials, and ship captains alike. Ned Blackhawk observes that England enslaved nearly 1 million Native Americans during the 16th and 17th centuries. Housed within colonial homes, trafficked out of Boston and later Charleston, and sent across the Atlantic, a maritime indigenous diaspora radiated from England's earliest colonies. This triangular slave trade connected London, Northeast North America, and Iberia. Upon arrival to Malaga, Spain, Lieutenant Hunt only sold a few of his captives before Roman Catholic priests seized the rest. The Spanish Church, since 1537, officially regarded Native Americans as full people. Next, Tisquantum ended up in London, where, as Howard Zinn explains, he served as a kind of living conversation piece at the townhouse of John Slaney, a shipbuilder with investments in Newfoundland. Tisquantum absorbed the social world of his captors, learned English, eventually persuaded Slaney to put him on a fishing vessel to North America, and landed in southern Newfoundland in 1618. There, he linked up with Thomas Dermer and his crew of English explorers. The following year, through extolling the riches of his homeland, Tisquantum convinced Dermer to accompany him south to the lands of the Patuxet. It behooved the English sailor to protect Tisquantum, because he wanted to start his own colony, and Tisquantum's multicultural intelligence was a vital advantage. Arriving at Tisquantum's village, they encountered desolation. The Great Pandemic of 1616 to 1619 swept through Patuxet lands, leaving villages abandoned and farms overgrown. Devastated, Tisquantum remained with the Dermer crew to help with local diplomacy. A Wampanoag force eventually attacked the crew, killing Dermer and capturing Tisquantum for his association with the English. The head sachem of the Wampanoag Confederacy, Massasoit, did not trust the captive Tisquantum, but also recognized the value of his multilingualism. In 1620, Massasoit witnessed the Pilgrims of Plymouth settle on the ruins of Tisquantum's village, as did Somerset, an Abenaki leader who was the first to share a beer with the Pilgrims. Soon enough, Massasoit and his men confronted Plymouth, with Tisquantum as translator. Massasoit's neighboring adversaries, the Narragansett, had, unlike the Wampanoag, survived the Great Pandemic relatively unscathed, and Massasoit feared his nation's vulnerability. As a change in policy traditionally deadly to outsiders, Massasoit would allow Plymouth to exist in exchange for an alliance against the Narragansett. This agreement, along with a peace treaty with the Nauset, the English promised reparations for grave robbing, and the Massachusetts, led to the first Thanksgiving. Tisquantum moved into his old village, now Plymouth, and helped it survive the winter by, as Governor William Bradford noted, directing them to set corn, where to take fish, and to procure other commodities. Tisquantum ultimately sought to overtake the sachemship of the Confederacy from Massasoit and played the English and Wampanoag against each other. He alleged to other Wampanoag communities that he could better tackle the English, and parlayed to the English that Massasoit was set to attack them with the Narragansett. Tisquantum, away at a delegation in Boston, had an alibi as he tried to trick the Pilgrims into attacking the sachem in 1622. Upon learning of this plan, Massasoit demanded the delivery of Tisquantum for execution. But Governor Bradford shielded Tisquantum, for he saw him as an instrument sent of God for their good beyond their expectation. In response, Massasoit severed relations, trade and all, with the Pilgrims. Plymouth's subsequent harvest suffered so much from lack of rain that Governor Bradford and Tisquantum traveled to Massasoit to negotiate a new pact. It was on this journey that Tisquantum got sick and died. Tisquantum's life story reveals the early roots and societal disruptions of English North American slavery and trade. But speaking of trade, what did they use for money